My girlfriend tried forcing me to pay off her student loans while she spent lavishly on vacations. So I dumped her and kicked her out. I, 28M, met my girlfriend, 26F, at a local bar through mutual friends 2 years ago. I work as a construction project manager, making decent money but nothing extraordinary. My girlfriend was a psychology graduate working as a counselor at a private practice, and things were great between us initially. 6 months into our relationship, she moved in with me after her roommate suddenly decided to relocate. I was hesitant at first, but she convinced me it made financial sense since she was already spending most nights at my place. She offered to split all household expenses 50-50, which seemed fair. The first red flag appeared when she forgot to pay her share of utilities for 2 consecutive months. When I brought it up, she broke down crying about her massive student loan debt, $120,000, and how her entry-level counseling job barely covered her basic expenses. Being a supportive boyfriend, I covered the utilities temporarily, believing she would catch up once she got her finances in order. That's when things started getting weird. Despite claiming financial hardship, she began taking weekend trips with her friends every month. When I questioned how she could afford these trips while struggling with bills, she'd get defensive and accuse me of being controlling. "I work hard and deserve to treat myself sometimes," she'd say. "Why are you monitoring my spending?" I noticed she was constantly shopping online, receiving packages almost daily filled with designer clothes and expensive makeup. Yet whenever rent was due, she'd conveniently have some emergency that prevented her from paying her full share. Car repairs, medical bills, family emergencies. There was always some excuse. The manipulation became more apparent when she started leaving printouts of student loan refinancing options on my desk. She'd casually mention how couples who truly love each other help pay off each other's debts. "My friend's boyfriend paid off her loans, and now they're happily married," she'd say, trying to make me feel guilty. Things reached a breaking point when I overheard her on the phone with her friend, laughing about how she had me wrapped around her finger and how she planned to get me to take over her loan payments. "He's such a softie," she said. "Once I get him to refinance my loans under his name, I can focus on more important things, like that trip to Europe I've been planning." I was stunned. Not only was she trying to manipulate me into taking on her massive debt, but she was also planning an expensive European vacation while claiming she couldn't afford basic living expenses. I decided to do some digging, and what I discovered made my blood boil. I found a hidden credit card statement in her desk drawer while looking for some documents. She had spent over $15,000 in the past 3 months alone on luxury items, spa treatments, and travel bookings. There were reservations for a 3-week European tour costing $8,000, scheduled for next month. Meanwhile, she had only contributed $400 toward household expenses in that same period. What really got me was discovering she had been lying about her salary. She wasn't struggling at all. She was making $75,000 a year at her practice, almost double what she had told me. All those times she claimed she could barely afford food, she was spending hundreds at high-end restaurants with her friends. But the real kicker came when I found draft paperwork for loan refinancing with my name on it. She had already filled out applications using my personal information, which she must have copied from my documents. She was literally planning to commit identity theft to transfer her student loan debt to me. I confronted her that evening. "Want to explain these?" I asked, laying out the credit card statements and loan applications on the kitchen table. Her face went pale, but she quickly switched to defensive mode. "You went through my private things. How dare you invade my privacy like that? Private things like the loan applications with my stolen information?" I shot back. She tried changing tactics, tears suddenly flowing. "I was going to tell you about the Europe trip. It was supposed to be a surprise for both of us. And those loan papers. I just wanted to explore our options as a couple. Don't you see a future with me? A future built on lies?" I asked. "You've been manipulating me from day one." "You're being dramatic," she scoffed. "This is what couples do. They help each other out. My student loans are holding us back from building a life together. If you really loved me, you want to help me be debt-free." "If you really loved me," I countered, "you wouldn't be trying to scam me while blowing money on luxury trips." That's when she showed her true colors. Her tears dried up instantly, replaced by a cold, calculating look. "Fine. Have it your way. But I have rights as a tenant, and you can't just kick me out. I could make things very difficult for you." Little did she know, I'd already spoken to my lawyer about the situation. My lawyer had advised me on exactly how to handle this situation. I had already documented everything: the attempted identity theft, her failure to pay rent, the manipulative messages, and even recorded her phone conversations about scamming me. My state has one-party consent for recordings. Actually, I said calmly, I've already filed a police report about the attempted identity theft. Those loan applications with my forged information? That's a felony. I'm giving you 24 hours to get out, or I'm pressing charges. Her face contorted with rage. You wouldn't dare. I'll tell everyone you abused me. I'll ruin your reputation. I pulled out my phone and played the recording of her bragging about manipulating me. Go ahead. I have plenty of evidence of your scams. Should we add extortion to the identity theft charges? She started throwing things around the apartment, screaming about how I was a heartless monster who never truly loved her. I simply sat there, recording everything on my phone. Eventually, she stormed into the bedroom and started packing. But she wasn't done with her schemes. She tried calling my mother, spinning some sob story about how I was throwing her out with nowhere to go. Unfortunately for her, I had already shown my parents all the evidence. My mother simply hung up on her. Next, she contacted our mutual friends, claiming I had been financially abusing her. That backfired spectacularly when I shared the credit card statement showing her lavish spending alongside screenshots of her texts begging for rent money. They were disgusted by her behavior. She even tried posting about me on social media, painting herself as a victim. I simply responded by posting the recorded phone conversation where she bragged about manipulating me. She deleted her posts within minutes. The next morning, while she was frantically packing, I discovered she had tried one last desperate move. She had attempted to transfer money from my online banking account to hers. Thankfully, I had already changed all my passwords and added two-factor authentication. I added this attempted theft to my police report. As she was loading her things into her car, she tried one final manipulation tactic. She suddenly dropped to her knees in the driveway, sobbing hysterically about how she had a gambling addiction and needed help. She claimed all the shopping and trips were her way of coping with trauma, and if I just helped her with the loans, she would get therapy and change. I almost laughed at the absurdity. You're a counselor. If you actually had a gambling problem, you know better than to use it as a last-minute excuse. Her tears dried up instantly. You'll regret this, she snarled. No woman will ever want you once I'm done telling everyone what a monster you are. Go ahead, I replied, holding up my phone. I'm still recording. That shut her up. After she left, I had my locks changed, set up security cameras, and formally submitted all evidence of her attempted identity theft and fraud to the police. I also sent her a certified letter demanding her unpaid share of rent and utilities, totaling $6,800. 2 weeks later, she was served with papers at her workplace. Turns out, attempting identity theft to refinance student loans is taken very seriously. She ended up pleading guilty to attempted identity theft and fraud. The judge ordered her to pay full restitution for the unpaid rent and utilities, plus she got 2 years of probation and mandatory financial counseling. She lost her counseling license, and apparently, attempting to commit financial fraud isn't looked upon kindly in the mental health profession. Last I heard, she had to move back in with her parents and now works at a retail store, while her student loans continue accumulating interest. As for me, I've learned to spot red flags early and never ignore them. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Trust your gut, document everything, and don't let manipulation tactics cloud your judgment.